Catherine's phone buzzed with the familiar sound of an incoming text. She was sitting in a cafe, sipping a coffee, half listening to the chatter around her when she saw the message. "Come to BlackThorn Hill. We're having a reunion. It's been too long." The sender was Julia, an old friend from high school. Catherine hadn't spoken to her in years, at least not since that strange incident on their last trip together. Julia's messages always carried a weight that Catherine couldn't ignore, no matter how strange they sounded. Without thinking, Catherine typed back, "I'm in. What's the catch?" Julia's reply was swift. "No catch. It's just a weekend getaway. I promise nothing weird. Just old friends, and the house is... well, it's just a house." A sudden chill washed over Catherine, a twinge of dread, but she pushed it away. Just a house, she told herself. The invitation seemed innocent enough, but the mention of BlackThorn Hill always carried an unsettling air. People in the town spoke of it in hushed tones, like a dark secret buried beneath the town's sleepy surface. The drive out to BlackThorn Hill was longer than Catherine expected. The road twisted through dense woods that seemed to close in on her car, creating an eerie sense of isolation. The rain started just as she crossed the threshold into the hills, turning the narrow road slick and dangerous. The dim headlights barely cut through the fog that clung to the ground like something alive. The GPS signal flickered in and out, as if the road itself was trying to push her back. "You're almost there," it chimed in a cheery voice, but Catherine was starting to doubt that. The sense of something wrong was crawling up her spine, but she shook it off. Eventually, the trees opened up to reveal a large, imposing mansion perched atop the hill. It loomed over the landscape, its windows dark and unwelcoming. The house looked ancient, its paint peeling, the once grand front door now warped with age. Catherine's heart rate quickened as she pulled into the long gravel driveway, the tires crunching with each turn. Inside, the house was cold, even though the fireplace was crackling with a lively fire. Julia was waiting in the main room, dressed in a vintage-style dress. Her face lit up with a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. The other guests were already mingling, a few faces Catherine recognized. Though they looked older, their eyes shadowed by the same unease Catherine was trying to ignore. "Catherine!" Julia exclaimed, embracing her with a warmth that felt more like a mask. "So glad you could make it. It's been ages, hasn't it?" Catherine forced a smile. "Yeah, it's been a while. This place, it's a bit different from what I remember." Julia's eyes darkened for a moment, a fleeting look of something, fear, before she brushed it off. "It's just old. The house is full of history. That's all." As the evening wore on, the conversation grew quieter, more tense. Everyone seemed to avoid looking at the large mirror above the fireplace, the one that reflected the entire room. And when Catherine did glance at it, she could have sworn she saw something move in the reflection. But when she turned around, no one was there. By the time they moved to bed, Catherine was exhausted. The rooms were old-fashioned, with heavy, dark curtains that shut out any light from the moon. The bed felt strangely cold, as if it had been empty for a long time. She tried to shrug off the feeling of being watched as she pulled the covers up around her. The house creaked. It groaned with age, but there was something else, something beneath it all scratching, like something was trying to crawl through the walls. She lay still, listening, her breath shallow, waiting for it to stop. And then she heard it, a whisper, soft at first, like a breath against her ear, but then louder, sharper. "Leave. It's not safe." Catherine's heart skipped. She sat up, the room suddenly suffocating. Her phone buzzed again, the light illuminating the dark space. It was another message from Julia. "Don't trust them. Don't trust the house." Her hands shook as she read the text, but before she could reply, the door to her room creaked open. It was Julia, standing in the doorway, her face pale, eyes wide with fear. "Catherine," Julia whispered, her voice trembling, "they're not who they say they are. None of them are. The house, it's not what it seems." Julia led Catherine down the darkened halls, her voice barely above a whisper. "We have to get out of here. They've been waiting for someone like you. The house, it feeds off fear. It feeds off memories. Catherine tried to process the words. What are you talking about? Who are they? Julia paused, her eyes flickering to the end of the hall where something moved in the darkness. The spirits, the things that never left. They're trapped here just like us. And the house, it doesn't just trap people, it traps souls. Suddenly, the house seemed to shift, as if the very walls were closing in. A door at the end of the hallway opened, and from it, a thick, suffocating darkness poured out. Figures, pale and twisted, with eyes that gleamed with an unnatural hunger, stepped into view, their forms half-formed, like the remnants of forgotten nightmares. They've already claimed the others, Julia whispered, her voice breaking. And now they want you. Panic surged through Catherine as she turned and ran. The house seemed alive, shifting and twisting, as if trying to trap her at every turn. The whispers were deafening now, their voices mingling with the groans of the walls. But Catherine didn't stop. She couldn't. She reached the front door, throwing it open with all her strength, only to find that the landscape outside had changed. The fog had thickened, and the trees were bent at unnatural angles, their branches reaching out like skeletal hands. Behind her, the figures were closing in, but Catherine didn't hesitate. She ran, pushed by fear, by the need to survive. Catherine made it to the edge of the property. BlackThorn Hill loomed above her, but something in the back of her mind told her she couldn't leave. Not yet. Not until she understood. Turning back toward the house, she saw Julia standing on the porch, her face pale and haunted. "You can't run, Catherine," Julia cried out, her voice breaking. "None of us can. We're all part of the house now. We always have been." Catherine's heart shattered as she understood. The house wasn't just a building, it was a prison, and every soul that came here was doomed to become part of its dark history. With tears in her eyes, she made her choice. She stepped back into the fog, away from BlackThorn Hill, knowing that no matter where she went, the house would always be with her. Years passed, but Catherine never truly escaped. The nightmares came every night, the whispers in the dark. And every now and then, she would receive an invitation, a message. "Come to BlackThorn Hill. We're having a reunion. It's been too long." And she knew deep down that she would answer the call.